let's transition to Bighorn 100.
The day we die.
The day that we both might no longer live past. How are you feeling for Bighorn 100? This is our first 100-mile race for both of us.
Yeah. I'll kind of recap what I've told you over the past few days. I had a 50-miler on Saturday, this past Saturday, and it was like they always are, a gut check. And it made me start to question, like, man, if I had to go out there and do another 50 miles, could I do that? And went through some days of doubt. But by the time I was at the airport and heading this way, I was like, actually, I feel a little bit better about it. And I've been pouring more training, more volume into this than I ever have. And I told my wife, I think by the time I finish training for this race, it'll be harder than I've trained for any thing in my life, like even for my bodybuilding show or different things I've done. I just think the time pouring into it, because at that point it'll be 12 to 14 hour weeks and just, the stress of thinking about the race and all that goes into it. But I'm feeling pretty good about it. I just am starting to visualize certain sections and need to tweak a few things kind of on race day or into the race. But what about you?
Same, relatively. Yeah. I think my biggest thing is I don't live in the mountains. It's so hard to get mountain training not living in the mountains. But I feel more fit than I've ever been, probably.
I feel more fit than I've ever been, yet I still don't feel fit enough. Yeah. That's my problem.
And that's where I keep reminding myself, there's people that do 100-mile races that are definitely not as fit as you or me.
Well, so that's what I fall back on. Yeah, that's what I fall back on. Is I'm like, there has to be someone less fit than me that is finished. And yet, and I do fall back on, I feel like my mindset and my grit and my musculature will hold up. I just wonder, cardiovascularly and energy wise, how am I going to do come 65, 70, 80 miles, all that. It's just the unknown that irks me a little bit.
Yeah, it's the unknown for sure. Because when you don't know till you know, when you've never ventured past. Have you done anything past 50 miles before?
No, I did. I got to 52 at Canyonlands in Moab.
Yeah, I did that 100K, but it was in a parking lot, so I don't really count that. Yeah. So it wasn't mountains. But yeah, 50 miles in the mountains, from what I hear, is it's like comparing a half marathon to a marathon. It's double the distance, but a marathon's so much harder than simply twice the distance. It's at least all the people that run hundreds tell me that.
At the same time, though, it's not, at least what I hear too, is it's not linear. So it's not like how bad you feel right now. It's not like it gets compounded and it's double by mile 60 or something like that. But at the same time, you do have to manage it. And if you make too many mistakes early, whether it's your gut or something like that, it can really cost you later in the race. So that's kind of really what I'm focused on, is just minding my P's and Q's early, getting to that top point of Jaws, 50 miles in, knowing we're at the turning back point, and also really leaning on my pacers. I never had pacers in races, but when I crewed and paced Joey at Leadville, I think that really lifted him up on that back end, and I'm definitely going to need that as well. And hopefully most of the first 50 miles or 30 miles, we're kind of near each other.
Yeah, I think we definitely will be.
So that'll be nice, too, to kind of share that. And then by the time we probably peel off, we'll each have our pacers.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. We could end up doing the whole race together.
Yeah, holding hands.
So many unknowns. Yeah. You, me, and Pete out there.
Yeah, I know.
What's a typical week of training look like right now?
This one's obviously a kind of recovery week after the race, but in general, my last big week and what they're looking like week to week is I usually have a 90-minute, although it's getting longer now on Tuesday. It's kind of easy. Wednesday ends up usually being some kind of speed work. It's hill repeats, so some short form kind of speed bursts that I'll do. So that's usually a 20 to 40 minute warm up and cool down on each side, and then sandwiched in between is 8 repeats up hills. And then Thursdays is another kind of speedish workout, but with some longer intervals that are more lactate threshold stuff. So it'll be 3 to 5 minute tempos up a hill, come back down again, sandwich between 30 to an hour on the front end and back end. So those runs are getting longer.
Speed work is always on hills?
Yeah, that's what Don has me at right now. I think for the low impact stuff, And then also for the actual technicality of it and more elevation gain and all of that. And then on the weekends, long runs. Usually the longer one I think it's been on Sunday, but I think it's switched lately. But either way, 2 long runs on the weekends. I was telling you, John, my coach, John Reichelt, has generally had me on time for all my workouts, but the closer we get to races, if he knows like, all right, Brock's kind of damn slow on this, he'll switch it to miles. Okay. So like I can't just kind of like wait out the clock, if that makes sense. Because sometimes, especially like we've had shit weather, I'm like, well, I'm glad it's just 4 hours, because that way it's not like, you know, like I have to get a certain mileage done. It's like I know 4 hours it's done. And but there's a workaround where I'll start to program in like 22 miles on a Saturday, like 18 on the Sunday, and there's no making that up otherwise.
I feel like time is probably the better metric to follow generally, but I guess you can kind of cheat it a little bit.
And I'll say briefly, lifting wise, I had to pull back on 2 of my lifts, so I'm still lifting 4 days, sometimes 5 a week. It's still legs on. It's 2 days I don't run, Monday and Friday. Train legs on Monday, chest and back Tuesday. Just kind of went back bro style, shoulders and arms on Wednesday. Nice. Rest on Thursday, because that's usually like my longer, that's like those lactate repeats. Friday, upper again, or like chest and back. Saturday long, or like usually long. So usually weekend I don't lift. So it's been tough to do that as well and pull back on that. But I just think, I was telling you this morning, like my legs, I think just both for performance in the runs, but also making sure recovery and avoiding injury. I think just more than one leg day right now is just too much, because I either suffer in the next, like either long run or speed workout because my legs are a little too sore, or I feel like I'm setting myself for injury if just my legs are sore literally 7 days a week.
Yeah. What's a typical leg day look like?
It's still a little bit hypertrophy style, so I still will squat, but I'll keep it a little bit lower rep range, so kind of like that 3 to 6 range, a couple sets of that. I haven't been trying to actually make it heavier lately, just because we're so close to the race. And I feel like, one, I won't probably be able to gain much strength, and 2, it's not really worth it right now. So I'll kind of stick in that range. And then walking lunges, I think those are great for just overall lower body. They get your heart rate up, definitely. And they also work against stability and single leg unilateral work, all of that. And then I'll mix in usually a third quad exercise, whether it's cyclist squats or goblet squats on a slant board, or sometimes I'll just do body weight Bulgarians with like a knee drive. So it's not too much overload, but it also helps me really work that glute med and focus on my stability. And that was really crucial for me recovering from my IT band syndrome, and making sure that doesn't come back. And then single leg kettlebell RDLs, and then some mini band work. So a lot of like the front end is almost stuff I would do anyway. And then the back end stuff has been just more fixed, because the closer we get to this race, I want to make sure everything is healthy and dialed in, and hips are strong. And I do feel like, especially, we were speaking about downhills, I think my downhill running's gotten better from the hip stability that I've had from single leg RDLs and walking lunges and all these things.
How many days a week are you on the trails, like in the mountains?
So that's a good question. Yeah. So both long runs, and then the Thursday, like longer hill repeats. So lately I've been doing like the short hill sprints in the neighborhood. I can find like this hill that works pretty well. And Tuesday as well, I'll do like an easy one around like the trail around my neighborhood. And that's honestly like maybe the most interesting thing about training for this race that I would ask you as well, is the time management of it, because there is only adding time. I joke with Maddie sometimes with these races. She'll tell me like, just run faster and you'll be done sooner. I'm like, why
didn't I think of that?
I know. If only I knew. I'll just run faster. The 50 miles will be over quicker. But with a lot of these things, like I told you, the problem, the double-edged sword with it being time-based is there's no workaround. It is 11 hours we're running this week. Add on the 5 hours I'm lifting, add on my daily 6 to 8 hours wherever I'm working, add on whatever extra switchback stuff we're doing, add on if, doing some content shoot for a brand, reading, shower, eat, anything else I want to do, get groceries, spend time with my wife maybe a little bit. All those things make it really difficult to kind of sandwich it all in a day. And actually one like epiphany I've had or revelation I've had lately about it was I used to keep thinking about that as, man, like I'm like barely holding on, I'm squeezing all of these things into my day. But I thought about it again. I was like, actually, like, it's empowering to think I can squeeze all these things into my day. Like, this is how much I can do. I can handle all these things, improve skills this way, train over here, manage 3 businesses, or like whatever it is. I can do that and still function well and still like enjoy my day to day, not feel like I'm losing my mind. And so even after the race, I've already started to think about like how I want to manage my time and fit in these things, because I didn't know how in the world I would fit in 12 hours of running per week and still be able to do X, Y, Z. How have you felt with managing that?
I will say you're definitely running more than me right now.
Yeah.
Because like especially last month, I don't think I ran more than like 55 miles a week, and that half of that's from like a marathon.
Yeah.
From all these damn marathons. I think I don't watch TV anymore.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I tell people, because people are like, "Oh, how do you have time?" Like, you can only do that because you work from home or whatever it is. And it's like, these things are true, but like, I don't watch any TV. Yeah. I try my hardest to cut down on like as much screen time as possible.
Yeah, there's probably, I would say, one day a month where I actually sit down and like turn the TV on, and it's like literally probably one day a month, maybe, if that. And then we both work from home, which I think is nice because we don't have to spend time commuting. I know that's a big thing for people, is sitting in their car driving to work. Fortunate enough to not have to do that. Mm-hmm. I think screen time on our phones, that's the thing I've had to be most conscious of, because it's the algorithms are too good, man. They hook you in.
They're too good. It is easy. Yeah, I'll say that working from home is like incredible. Yeah. Just like throw the running stuff to a side, throw like our lives aside for a minute. Like the commuting time, even if it's as short as like 30-minute round trip, it's killer. Or like, I even think about like my wife, she for some reason doesn't want to lift in our garage gym. I get it. But she'll drive to gym, and I'm like, man, that's round trip 40 minutes of your day. And it's brutal. And so one way that I try and even combat that is, that's why on my Tuesday, Wednesday run, I don't drive to a trail, because the trails for me are about 25 minutes each way. So it's almost like an extra hour in my day. So like if the long 2-hour run wasn't hard enough to fit in my day, I have to do that. So I'll try and mix in that, and when I feasibly can with the training close to the neighborhood, or I'll try and bundle things. Like if I know I need to get groceries soon, I'll tack it on right after a run.
Yeah. I also, like the time I do spend working, I try to be as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
It's like, don't like work for 30 seconds and then play on my phone or start playing with the dogs or something. Like just lock in for like an hour, get the task done, move on to the next thing. Because I think I used to do that a lot. I would just like screw around, and it would just take me forever to get something done. But now, having so many things to try and balance, you have to just be more intentional with your time. So now that you figured out how to do all this with 12 hours of training, running at least, when you're done with the race, what do you do with that extra 12 hours in your week? Because that's a lot of time.
I'd like to try and figure out where I want to go a little bit more with content. I've kind of, whether it's the podcast, putting that on pause indefinitely, or whether just like Instagram in general, I feel like I need time to kind of sort out where I want to go with it, and also having the time to make it. Because like I'm just not putting creativity and time and planning into it that I know like you do with a lot of your content. And right now with, again, all the things I'm doing, it's hard to carve in another, time to brainstorm or think about those things. So I'd like to kind of just figure that out. I'd like to spend more time writing. I think when I am writing, I enjoy it. But I just, again, as we talked about at the start of this, I'm very habitual. And if I don't make it a habit, if I don't really kind of drill it or set aside time for it, things just don't get done. But if they are in the schedule, they get done. So that's generally it. And I want to pull back the running, but still run, and just get back to a place where I feel more jacked. Yeah. So I need to figure out my lifting a little bit more, try and put back what I perhaps have lost. But that's generally what I think I'm gonna do. Yeah.
Have you lost a lot of weight from all the running? Seems like you've maintained size for the most part.
For the most part, I've maintained size. My body's gone through, over the past 4 years of running, a lot of recomp. So my legs and butt used to hold a lot more fat, and now they've leaned out, I think just by virtue of the body's like, hey, we can't hold it here anymore since we're running. And so certain areas of my body hold a little bit less fat, so it's hard to say whether I've lost muscle there or whether it's lost size because of the fat around there. But then there's other areas that have gotten bigger, like my calves are way better than they used to be lifting, infinitely better.
You should tell the people that wanted the calf machine to
just go run. Calf machine. Just go run. Yeah. Stay hard.
Yeah.
But so I haven't lost too much, but strength wise, like this is set aside from the running, but just since moving and being in a garage that has this slope, like I haven't been able to deadlift, just because I may not instantly have injury issues with the imbalance of like one side or the other, but I just know eventually I will. And sometimes like my back just feels weird. So just sorting some of that out, but no, I haven't lost too much weight. I'm sitting about like 180 consistently.
Yeah.
And I've kind of been hovering there for a few years.
Yeah. What does your nutrition look like? Has it changed at all I know you love beef and rice, but has it changed at all during like 100-mile prep?
No, not besides the past few days where we've been on the raw milk kick. You got me on there.
You feeling more juiced yet?
Yeah. It's like Cam Hanes. It's like lift, run, milk. But yeah, no, my diet's mostly the same. Whole foods, high protein, eggs, lean meats, beef and chicken generally. 93.7, I think is usually what I get at the store. Rice, oatmeal, like again, bodybuilder brain, meathead brain, very simple guy. I do mix in some fun foods. I'm a whore for some Toll House cookies.
Like chocolate chip?
Yeah, like the little premium ones you can get at the store. They're just so reliable and always good.
There's like the sheet of like the square.
Yeah. But my wife and I, we generally stay away from them. But we do tend to grab those every once in a while, or like the Ghirardelli brownie box. But
do you eat them raw or do you cook
them? No, I cook. I'm not a menace. Yeah.
I just like raw things, I guess.
I think you do. Everything raw. But no, it hasn't changed. The only thing I've really ramped up is I'm a big like carb burner. So just more either bread or bagels or fruit, things like that I can just kind of grab real quick. Slamming fig bars and bobo bars and things like that, especially around runs, has been pretty big too. Just to make sure I'm fueled up for this, because sometimes I don't know about you, but it's like I'll look at a long run and respect it. I'll be like, okay, 4 hours, so I'll pack a ton of food and I'll eat and I'll be good. But then I'll have like a run the next week that's like 3 hours, and my brain goes, oh, it's just 3 hours. And then I like don't eat nearly enough before the run. I underpack like for some reason, and like sometimes underhydrate. And then it's like a miserable run. I'm like, why did I act like it was like a 30-minute loop around the neighborhood or something like that?
Yeah, it's I've done that too many times to where I'm now like very conscious to have more than enough usually. It's curious, you said you're a carb burner. What makes you say that?
I just burn carbs really well. I think my body I haven't had it tested. Like I know you got it tested, I think, right?
Yeah, during the VO2 max.
But I just noticed, and this was the same way with like lifting. Like I did well on carbs. Like if I wanted to lose weight, I would kind of pull back on carbs. Like if I go high on fats, it's not like I start putting on more weight or I have any issues, and I don't mind eating those foods. And I'm not super low fat either by any means, but I don't feel like I feel like if I want more energy or to gain more weight or to get more out of my workouts, I go to carbs. It's just how I've generally been.
That makes sense. That test is super interesting. I think you have a good intuition though. Like I had intuition that I'm more of a fat burner, more efficient fat burner, I guess. And that's what the test said.
I would be super surprised if I was more of a fat burner, only because for years I've been primarily carb based on my macros. Like they've generally been like 50 to 55% of my macro ratio, and then my fat's usually somewhere between like 60 to 100 grams a day.
That makes sense.
Dang.
What about on like race day? What's your nutrition plan?
I just stick with what's always there. So like I always do my whole cup of oats in the morning. I'll probably stick to like 3 eggs. And the only thing I really ramp up for race day is I'll throw in like some slices of toast or some extra kind of carb source. So I just kind of keep it simple. I don't want to go too crazy. But I know are you gonna like carb up? Because I thought about that. I was like, I don't know if carb ups really help for ultras.
Yeah, you don't really need it because the effort level is never really that high. You're not like pushing past
and you're constantly eating when
that
you're out
threshold. There. Yeah. So my last couple 50 milers, I didn't carb up. I don't think you really need to, but yeah. What about like intra race nutrition? Are you doing like gels? And...
I want to go. Well, so yeah, the gels I've gone for like a year and a half. I wish I was sponsored, had some plug. But Untapped, I'll give them freaking credit. It's the syrups. They digest well. They're tasty. They're affordable, and they've been done well for me. But I might mix it up a little bit. I might mix it up, especially if they don't have like a caffeine option. I might go to like a Spring or something like that I can mix in. And honestly, just variety of flavor and consistency, I think might be good. And also, as far as whole foods, I want to get a lot more whole foods in for this race since I'll have more cruise spots there, and it's a long day. And so I want to do fresh fruit. Ramen noodles always really good for salt, water, sodium, and calories. All of that stuff is great and digests well. It's warm, all of that. And I'm tempted to do guacamole like our boy Pierce.
Oh, guac. You do beef sticks too?
I think, aren't they supposed to have bacon out there?
Yeah, there's a bacon station.
Is it just one?
Well, you'll hit it twice because out and back. So I think we'll hit it at like maybe like 35 or something.
That's what Don told me. And then I might go bacon mode out there.
It'd be like 70 or 75 or something. Yeah, the bacon station. Yeah,
the bacon station.
Yeah. And you forgot the most important product: Switchback Electrolytes.
Oh, well, we talking about fuel, aren't we? I guess that's part of fuel.
Hydration.
Yeah, of course. Switchback Electrolytes travel sticks available probably now by the time you're hearing this.
Actually, this is gonna come out on Monday.
Oh shoot! Quick turnaround.
So, like 2 days after they hear this, probably. A couple days.
So keep an eye out for those.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna rock I won't say what it is, but third flavor. I think at Bighorn is what I'll do.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
So many people thought it was pizza rolls.
Dude, I thought it was.
People just forget what day it is. Yeah. They didn't know it was April Fool's.
Yeah. I think you ended up putting hashtag April Fools at the bottom.
It was at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I feel like I saw a lot of brands doing April Fools. Yeah, I felt you usually figure what it is.
Yeah. I wonder what that would even taste like. They can't be very refreshing.
It tastes like tomato sauce or something, right?
Pizza roll electrolytes? I don't know. Anyways, all right. Well, June 14th, Bighorn 100-mile race. R.I.P.
We'll be coming home with our buckles.
Yes, that's the attitude
Buckle
we need.
or die.